Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's go ahead and get ourselves back into it as we go ahead and return back to our beloved and intrepid adventuring party. For doing so, we go ahead and pick ourselves back up where our party has once again found themselves still in a bit of a pickle, stuck in a subterranean cavern trying to find their way underneath the frozen tundra of the Brigade Wastes. We go ahead and do so and pick ourselves up just as our party has managed to find themselves not only in the presence of a living, shroom-like people, but they also seem to be civilized enough and well-learned enough to speak or write in some sort of undercommon. As we pick ourselves up where we last left off and get ourselves back into character, we go ahead and do so just as the Elder Shroom, a relatively almost craning neck that has a long strip. You see the torso is still shrunken in and dressed in some sort of moss-like tunic, dyed in a relatively lofty blue. At least that's what you can see with the light from the torch. But right now the question is still hanging in the air that if you mean no harm will come to you. Well, it's not really a question, but a statement. But it does seem that you guys have managed to calm things down. However, earlier you did have Zoram ask what happened, or at least what the other creatures you ran into previously were, if they were part of this village or something else. With Zoram asking that, you actually see as the elder, the eyes blink in a very haphazard way. They don't blink sideways or top to bottom. They almost blink in they almost swell into themselves. It's like the eyes retreat back into the head and then back out. It's a very odd display. But taking the small piece of stone and going over to the slate, it writes out, "We don't know what you speak of. We only know of ourselves down here, along with some other interesting characters." And once again, this would be relayed from Volus to Clyde, who would then speak aloud. Sorry, from Clyde to Volus, who would then speak it aloud.
Alright, they said that they don't know of anyone other than themselves down here,
Yeah, these apparently they do
which
not.
to me is kind of concerning because, those things out there, if they ever get into here, these creatures are gonna die.
I mean, with all due respect, Clyde, if they've managed to survive down here for so long, and they're unaware of them, guess not to tip a little pot now, should we?
Yeah, but um,
We what?
we found our way in here. What happens if something else finds their way in here and they're not so quiet?
Will just kind of shrugged his shoulders. I mean, I feel like they have a better chance than us.
Zoram looks over. Um, they do have some sort of tools, as you can look. Some of them do have spears, so they might be able to protect themselves. I'd be hesitant to allow something that strong, or at least what it seemed like those things were back in the cavern here, but perhaps if they do not know of them, the vice versa is correct as well to assume. But that is it. That is my extent of knowledge.
Then for now, as long as it's not the problem, I'd say it's in our best interest not to interfere. Agreed?
Zoram nods. Rowan agrees, and Ryoka will abstain. She's not sure what to think, but if you guys want peace, she's all for it.
I do think that we should tell them, what's out there at least. Because if they don't know, it's better for us to let them know in case they ever need to prepare for something like that.
Zoram shrugs. They seem prepared enough for it. Rowan will chime in here. Well, I mean, I don't know too much about these things, and frankly, they scare the hell out of me. But,
Everything scares the hell out of you.
look, okay, I'm out of bread, or almost out of bread, and right now we're dealing with something that I had no idea about. And frankly, I'd much rather have to deal with something trying to kill me than whatever this is.
Mm-hmm.
Will's is kind of just happy he didn't just see and give the bread to the mushroom person at first, but
Oh no, he did. That's why he brought it up.
He an angry,
uh,
bread lacking individual.
alright, well, hmm, I guess we just go and see what this place is all about now, shouldn't we? As long as we do not draw any weapons, we should be fine, right?
Maybe.
Who knows? Maybe there's. Hmm, actually, think about it. I doubt this place has any means of trade, so I can't really say let's see what they have. But I guess this could be a breath of fresh air for seeing the unknown. I mean, how many people do you see with, uh, say they've gone to a sentient mushroom village?
Not many, I'd imagine, but tell them that we are here in peace, just again
They,
to kind of
they,
like
they, they
drive
are
it home.
aware. Trust me, I've told them this many of times.
You only told them it once.
You don't know what I said. Or are you telling me that you've understood this the whole time? Okay, just
I wish
there's
I did.
both eyes just kind of squint and he looks at Clyde.
What?
Right. Um,
Once again, these mushrooms are just staring at you. Most of them have kind of taken more of a defensive posture, not exactly unwelcoming, but they are eerily unfamiliar with you.
Uh, I
Soon enough. Oh,
wonder.
yes.
I was gonna say, if they're unfamiliar, can I take out one of my spider coins and can I just present it to them as a trinket?
You take out one of the spider coins, and in the light, it shines a very gentle gold. And you actually see as a lot of these mushrooms just kind of back away from it, not sure what it is, as you just whip it out.
No, he would
And
have like slowly taken it out and presented it.
eh,
Like I'm not a
even
threat.
still, no, even still, even taking it out slowly, it's just you. You would essentially whip it out to them, and they would. I mean, they really haven't seen gold. These guys don't know what money is. At least not that you're aware of.
It's a crimson coin though. How?
No, but I'm just saying. I know it is a crimson coin, but they really don't know what money or so is. But they would find this very interesting, as you would actually take note that the elder would eye this, and his eyes would somewhat bulge out of his head. I mean, it's difficult to tell if the elder is male or female. You cannot tell what these things are. These myconids, as one might call them. They don't seem to have any form or shape of gender. They just seem to,
Exist.
yeah, they just seem to exist. So the elder would, believe it or not, take a step forward to take a closer look at the coin, and then would back away and would use the small staff that they have that looks to be the writing rock that they're using, and they would point out to one of the other myconids, a relatively small one with a plump belly and about 5 legs. Very weird mushroom-shaped body that seems to be upside down with lots of furrows coming out of the top.
Are
Almost
they
like some
trying to
sort of,
use him as a sacrifice?
doesn't look like they're trying to sacrifice anybody.
No, I meant like, are they using him to go over and
Well, maybe
what?
if you waited, you'd find out.
Sorry, I got excited.
Are they gonna do this? Well, why don't you wait?
Are they going to do it? I don't know. Are they? Soon enough, the creature, this myconid with 5 legs, slowly crawls over towards you. And unfurling from one of the large, almost, I wouldn't call them, oh God, I wouldn't call them lapels, as that would be too, like, straight for what this thing's design would be. It's almost like the opening petals on a rose. Like, that's how expanded and expressed it is. And it seems to have different openings and functions at each level. It's a very weird looking mushroom. But it comes out, and as it does, you actually see a small stringy arm come out from one of these burls, and it reaches for the coin.
We will allow it to take the coin.
It takes the coin out of your hand without touching you. It just touches the coin. And then, not quickly, but slowly walks back and hands the coin to the elder. The elder once again looks at this coin as if it's some sort of mystical thing.
I mean, it is a mystical thing. It's from the Spider King.
Yeah, it is. He's not wrong to assume it's some mystical thing, okay?
I know.
But holding up the coin, you actually see the eyes somewhat adjust. It goes back and forth, trying to almost find the right position to look at this thing from. It's almost like its eyes are its own glasses. It's really weird. As you just see the eyes bulge out and then submerge back into the mushroomy flesh and then bulge out once again, trying to find the proper focus. The yellowish green eyes that follow over this coin. Soon enough, actually, you see as the elder stands up for a second, and you just see him, or you see it stop. Just stop. Doesn't move, doesn't blink, just stops. Almost like a lizard or a newt that has found itself in a situation and decides to stop moving as its survival ability.
Okay.
After a few minutes, you actually see as what looks to be a small creature crawls out from the large crowd. Behind this large crowd, you actually see and find that there was some sort of a mushroom-like spider decorated in red and white little dots that seem to polka dot it along with a almost pure gray mushroomed flesh that matches the stone walls. You see it steps forward and crawls up onto the elder. The elder just shows the coin to it. Spider doesn't react because it's just a spider. The elder then looks back to you, and they, once again, write something out in an arcana.
Clyde would attempt to read such a thing.
It's, why do you give us such a valuable trinket or treasure? We have nothing in return to give you.
Tell him it's a peace offering.
You sure you want me to say it as a peace offering, even though we already have peace?
Tell him it's even more of a thing to establish peace between us, to try to eliminate doubt.
Okay.
Goes on, man.
And then,
Crying out loud.
whilst tongues is still active,
Do not look behind the curtain. Do not look behind the curtain.
What?
Wizard of Oz reference, sorry.
No, I know, I'm just like, oh god, wait, what's the reference?
I had a small technical difficulty and the map just changed on me, so I just
Okay.
panic.
all right. Panic aside, he kind of goes and speaks to the mushroom person once more in tongues, saying, "It is a gesture of goodwill and to ensure that we truly come here with no harm." And then he just kind of, Volk just kind of like flicks or fidgets with two coins within his hand and just says, "It is of no consequence for imparting this gift to you."
The mushroom elder would finally wipe off the last sentence that he had carved, and then would take the last, what seems to be the last thing they're going to write. In gracious response to this gift, we will allow you to stay in our village for the time being. It is not much, but we will offer you some housing. Beyond that, you are on your own.
Clyde would relay this back to the party. Okay, so because we apparently we graciously gave them an important trinket, or not trinket, a gracious gift, so they're going to give us shelter for the time being. However, after that, and we're welcome in their village, so long as we may need until we leave. Um, but other than that, we are on our own.
Be right back 1 second.
Okay, take the time you need.
You know what this
Zoram,
means, right? We gotta watch where we step.
Zoram would look over and actually give a relatively respectful head bow. Not really sure if what these myconids do in the way of, well, showing respect. In a very awkward fashion, the elder seems to be lost as well and just sees they hesitantly, while looking around confused, puts their head down the same way Zoram does.
Clyde would join in the bow then.
Zoran would kind of hit Rowan in the side with his elbow, and what? Fine. And Rowan would bow his head in respect. Or I guess just standing off to the side, chuckling to herself, watching Rowan get abused again.
Clyde would shoot Ryoka a look like, bow, mother trucker.
Bow, motherfucker. Ryoka, would she? Yeah, she's not too irrespectful. So yeah, she would tuck her head down slightly.
Good.
And soon enough, Zoram picks his head up, and you can see the confusion on the elder's face. Even though the Myconids do not have very much emotion to show, there is a large scale of just confusion as to what just kind of happened there, not truly understanding why.
Mm-hmm. I have a question, real
Uh,
quick.
I have an answer.
At any point, could I try to have Clyde learn Undercommon?
Yes, actually, if you know or um, if you know someone or know something that can teach you, be it the way of magic or even an old scribe, yeah, they could teach it to you. It'd take maybe a month or so, but you could learn the language.
Damn it, I don't think we're gonna be able to stay here for a month to learn. Right?
Uh, Zoram shakes his head. I don't think so.
I wonder if they have a book. Valis. And Valis, he'd kind of like, not
Velas would
cry
look
out,
over
but
and kind of pick up the eyebrow. Yes.
and can you ask if they have a book to where we can learn to speak their language?
I can certainly ask for you, if that's what you require.
Yes, he would say with a smile.
Speaking on your behalf, Clyde, you see is, let's see, how would he ask this? Because they're obviously a relatively simplistic society. You would know that. The writing seems to be very lackadaisical. Here, let's see. Would he even think or know that these Myconids had a book or would keep written records? The best thought that Volus could think of here, there doesn't appear to be any idea that these Myconids would have a written history. It seems most of them function off some sort of telepathy or even a hive mind.
Mm.
But aside from that, there doesn't seem to be too much in the way of, well, written idea here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as that plays through, Eventually, you actually see as the crowd starts withdrawing. The elder just stays by with a few of the ones that actually they're still armed. Maybe about 5 or 6 of them that actually have the spears. They just stay there and watch. Not as any sort of aggressive stance, but almost just keeping an eye out. Honestly, can never be too safe or too sure.
Could you ask them if they could show us to our shelter?
I'm back. Apologies.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
just had a question from Clyde. Clyde was asking if you could ask, perhaps if these Myconids could lead them to your quarters for the night, or at
Yep.
least for whatever time of day it is.
Oh, let's see. Would I know the time?
Ah, make me a survival check at disadvantage.
All right. That's one dice. That's two. I got a 12.
No, you're trying your best, but you haven't seen this. You've seen light, and that was some time ago. It was sunlight, so it might be sometime during the day.
Uh-huh. Um, it's daytime? If you're asking for a specific time, I know fuck all, but uh
But aside from that, however, eventually you do ask if they could show you to your quarters. They do. The elder actually motions for you to follow them.
we follow.
Stepping by, it takes like a maybe 30-minute walk deep into the village. And you actually see this village is much like any barbaric one you might run into above ground. You find small sellers outside, some of them selling what looks to be bundles of moss or bundles of vine. You see some of them are selling what look to be tools, rudimentary, wood and stone wrapped together in some sort of crude twine. If even, actually. You see that there are colorful stones being sold, and you actually see at the moment there is one Myconid that is currently sitting on a small stump of stone that is currently having a colorful piece of rock embedded into their arm.
you said they were selling stuff, right?
That looks like they were selling. You don't know if they barter or sell, but it looks like street sellers, street vendors.
Would I be able to try to see what they're using as like a
Currency.
yeah, currency?
Currency. Yeah, you can try and take a look. Go ahead and make me I'll say a general perception check here.
Yeah, 16.
16. Um, from what you can tell, it actually seems to be there doesn't seem to be any actual transfer of wealth. But you do see that every once in a while you'll see as one of these Myconids walk up to the seller or vendor And they stand there for a moment, and you watch as they will touch hands, and that's the only interaction that happens.
So they trade in high fives.
That are nutrients.
You say tomato, I say tomato.
In doing so, but that's what you see. There's just a touch of hands for a few moments, or hand, feet, whatever these myconids have as limbs. You just see they touch, and then break off and stop.
Great, great. I guess. Oh well, not much the question about this. I believe.
You broke up a little bit for me there. What? I apologize.
Is this better?
Better, yes.
Um, he kind of just said, "Well, we shouldn't be questioning what they use to trade. By the looks of it, they might just share. Just kind of takes a moment to think. Nutrients, maybe. I don't really know how it works, or I guess it's just maybe empty promises." He's honestly trying to figure it out what they're doing, but he eventually just shrugs it off to just follow the elder to their quarters.
Okay.
Um, actually, uh, one more thing, Grape, if possible.
Mm-hmm.
As they're walking towards the quarters, would Wallace be able to at least discern if anything around them has some alchemical value here?
Would you find anything of alchemical value? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, there are a couple of things around here that have alchemical value. Especially some of the myconids. Some of them have fungus growing on them that looks to have some sort of a medicinal or even a herbal remedy to it. Or at least, I would say, English is failing me right now. You could use it to turn into a herb or some sort of a medicinal use. Aside from that, yes, there are a couple of other things. You find there are a couple of ingredients that can be used in spells. A few of those are being tossed around, but most of the things here are look to be decoration or even bits and pieces of flaunchery. Just now I have it, or so. It's a very odd dance to watch, and you see nobody, nothing down here runs into one another. They just seem to glide past, and every once in a while you'll see as one of them might almost step into each other, then they'll just take a sidestep and take pass. Something down here is just odd about the society. It's not like humans. Humans are chaotic. These seem ordered. Very weird. Just odd to watch.
Hmm. What is tungsten? still be in effect?
No,
All right.
that would have passed some time ago. So,
All right.
getting led to your quarters, you're being led through the streets. You actually have a lot of the vendors and a lot of the citizens, or so, if you would call them that, actually look over and they seem to be just eyeing you down. Most of them don't have any visual eyes, which is, once again, even more unsettling and uneasy to think about. But they just keep gazing at you. Soon enough, you're brought into a relatively large stone building, much the same of the rest of these, but this one is larger, well carved and smoothed out. You see, it seems to be made out of separate pieces of flat stone, or at least slab stone. You see that they have been somehow moved up and put together in roughly 3 to 4 walls, and the roof over top of it is what looks to be some sort of a carved stone that was there naturally, as if they took that as the only portion that they needed to build around within this area. But the elder stops by and notions. Doesn't say anything, because as you know, it has no mouth. But it notions inside for you.
Um, Voss just lightly dips his head towards the elder before looking back to the party and saying, "Well, this is where I presume we're gonna spend our time here."
Rowan looks at it, then looks around. I don't think these things know about furniture.
No, but at least we have our camping supplies with us, so we can at least make it to something a little more bearable for at least our type. Most
Also, I'm sure if we ask nicely, they can give us some sort of dirt or soil. We can maybe make that into a couch.
you want to make
Rowan
it
just
better.
Curl
Rowan
some
looks at
moss
you
on it.
with a very asinine what kind of a look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dirt furniture. You're complaining that they don't have any furniture. So, we make our own.
Not gonna make it worse by sitting on dirt or mud.
No, we add moss on top of it.
You must have been raised in a barn.
No, I've been on the run for years. That's besides the point.
wait a minute. Clyde, you're on the run for
No, no,
years.
no, no, no. We're not talking about that now.
No, I think this is some
No,
important
and he
details
just
you've left
walks
out.
out. He walks out.
You see as immediately walking into the building, you just see as Clyde disappears in.
He's gone.
Mm, He guy just looks at Rowan a moment. He's just like, I think he might have flirted with the wrong person if he's this.
Rowan would look at you and just, don't talk to me, bread waster. And he'll walk into the house.
It was one loaf.
Just before he enters, you see his foot is just about to enter, and he stops. One loaf too many. And he walks in.
You get him, Rowan.
You know, Ascaret. It, hey Nerim,
Yeah, what's up?
you know what I noticed actually whilst we were coming our way here?
What?
Some of the mushrooms that decorate the place, and even on some of these. Will we know that they're called myconids by this point, or no? Is it
Being a learned individual, uh, you might know that these things would be known as myconids.
all right? What I saw from the myconids and the furniture, even themselves, they actually have some alchemical herbs on them. But I found that interesting, and maybe mm, if it isn't that insulting, we could probably try to trade. It's been a while since I've brewed any decent potions.
I mean, I probably won't get involved with any of them, so if you want to go ahead and try and attempt to trade with them, I mean, go for it.
Rowan would actually poke his head out as you guys are having this discussion. You need to see this. And he would walk back in.
I guess let us see what's going on first.
I guess.
Very few things get Rowan excited outside of bread. And he says that last bit in like a lower tone before entering.
You, Niram, and Rayok are the last three through the doorway, but you actually have almost run into, or an instance where you almost run into Clyde and Rowan, as both of them are just standing there, not slack jawed, but almost in a stopped surprise. That as you actually look around, it's actually not as Spartan as one might think. You would look around and you see that the walls are actually covered in a thin white moss, something that looks like it was grown purposefully and provides a very soft exterior and interior, at least to how this room would feel. You look around and see that there are almost tapestry like hangings of an adornments, bits and pieces of colorful rock beaded together with what looks to be some sort of reds and greens that are molded from some sort of almost, you wouldn't exactly call it an arterial color, but it certainly has a vibrance to it. These tapestries have no coordination of color. It's almost like a Jackson Pollock painting. But it almost has a sense of ease to it, that these things actually do have some sort of civility, even with what seems to be some sort of barbaric ways, with how simple their society is. You look about and actually see that there is furniture here, believe it or not. I mean, it is stone, but you see it's covered in gentle reposes of vine and moss. The vines seem to provide a bit more structure to it, and while not looking too comfortable, it seems to be better than sleeping on the floor.
I would
And
look to see if there's a couch.
yes, as I just described to you, there is a.
I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good.
I would look at it being like, it's not moss, but it looks cozy.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Sure, just shit on your host's house. Sure, why not?
No, Clyde wasn't trying to
I'm,
shit
I'm
on
not
it.
talking. I'm talking to fucking Jose.
What do you mean?
If we have to describe it to you,
Like Clyde mentioned the couch, and he just says whatever helps you sleep at night. It's not offensive.
to you it might not be. Rude.
The poor mushroom men. Someone probably gave up their house for this.
So
Do you not have any remorse?
No, I don't.
I kind of scoff and
You want to talk?
go to gingerly sit on the couch.
You sit on it, and it feels like you are sitting on a pile of vines that have been matted over with a soft curtain of moss. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it's okay.
There is boss. He'd say with like an excited look on his face.
See, that's what all you need to make someone happy. Moss.
It's the
How to keep
little
a
things in
how to
life.
keep your local Clyde happy? Just put some moss down.
Well, again, it's the little things, man. It's the little things.
Rowan would look over and, speak for yourself. And he would roll out his bedroll, seem to pat it down into some of the moss.
I don't know why, but all I can just imagine is Rowan's bedroll right now is just like a giant loaf of bread.
I can see that. I hate that I can see that too.
Just like a hollowed out giant loaf of bread.
The outside of it is a very chestnut brown. When he opens it up, the interior looks to be a very yeasty yellow.
Oh jeez.
While not being bread, it seems to have the color of it. Does that suffice?
Yes.
There.
I would like to ask for one clarification.
Yes.
Rowan isn't twitching, is he?
Believe it or not, Rowan does not seem to be twitching. It seems he's doing his best to hide it, but there's definitely something up with it.
Clyde would take out a small piece of his emergency ration bread and just kind of like toss it over to Rowan.
I
It
thought
does
for a
not
second.
touch. It does not touch the ground.
Oh, like, hey, something to help you sleep at night.
Yeah, you flick it out to him. It does not touch the ground.
It's a pacifier.
You hear a very crunchy.
There we go. That
It
that'll
sounds
put
like
him to
he's
sleep.
chewing on a stale crouton.
I mean,
I
at
mean,
that point, that's probably what it is.
I was about to say that. Basically, what it is at this point.
It's his protein.
I don't think you understand what bread is. Bread is not protein.
Oh, I know. It's a
I mean,
true thing that is protein.
if you add things into the bread,
Yeah.
like make it into a sandwich,
The-
then the bread has protein.
That
Sometimes it's just I don't understand you sometimes, Hope.
I don't understand myself.
All right. So, moving on. No, but for the few hours you guys wish to rest, you can do so comfortably here. Nothing seems to want to attack you or try to do so. It seems like they've kept their word. They don't have any guards by the door. They seem to have left you alone.
Mm.
I
Um,
would look at his companions, being like, "Okay, what now?"
well, I'm going to try to make some potions for our travels before at least I get some rest. May
We
as
should
well.
add. Sorry.
No. Say what you were going to say.
I was gonna say maybe we should ask them if they know of an exit, like a safe exit, other than the way that we came.
Okay. So, over the course of your long rest, would anyone like to do anything? Or are you guys just going to sleep?
I guess. Well, this would actually go through with try to make some potions.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a survival check.
All right. Survival check. Oh, I crit, so 22.
Yeah. Throughout the night or day, whatever time it might be, you find yourself crafting through the potions. What kind of potions are you trying to craft? Or are you just making some?
Well, let's see. All that I currently have are. Hmm, all I have are anti-poison and 3 King's Root for medicinal / hallucinatory. So I can either make up to 3 healing potions or 3 anti-poisons, but yeah, I don't have that many herbs.
Okay.
That's
I'll
why.
say with the time you have available, you'd be able to make uh, 2 minor anti-poisons. Be able to get rid of most natural stuff, but don't try and use it against any demonic poison or something.
Okay. And while this is up, can you just gaze around real quick, wondering if any of those mushrooms are kind of like stalking the party?
Make me a perception check.
23.
Yes, there seems to be a familiar, small, and squat mushroom standing in the corner. Not sure when they got there, but the familiar multiple hexagonal eyes that seem to just stand there under a ring of a brown cap. It's the mushroom you ran into just before you ran into the hunting ones.
It's Philip.
Yes, it's Philip. Philip is currently just standing there.
I guess just kind of pauses after placing down the second minor antidote potion and kind of just his eyes kind of almost locked to the mushroom at first, very much questioning how the heck it followed them. Uh, then kind of just reaches for his satchel and pulls out one of his older rations. And kind of just holds it out, but he doesn't like leave it on the floor. So he's kind of just seeing if this little mushroom's gonna walk over to take it or not.
Make me an animal handling check.
Gotcha. Animal handling. Here we go. Huh. 19.
You see as Philip stands there Every few moments or so, you just see as the little stubby legs take one step forward until over the course of maybe 30 or so minutes, Philip makes their way over to you and just stands before you. You're not sure if the eyes are staring at the ration, but they just seem to be looking at you.
Now, uh, since he's sitting down, Wallace is sitting down with his alchemical set, he just kind of, if it took 30 minutes, of course, he's just going to probably lower his hand just because holding out bread for 30 minutes will probably make his arm tired, but if once he gets very close, he just offers the bread at arm's length, or what would he consider to be arm's length for the little myconid for him to easily take.
The little myconid comes over, and you just see as it puts its little stubby hand out and very gently grabs on to the edge of your ration, and you see as the little stubby hand slowly sucks in the ration piece. And you see as it does so, you see as Philip vibrates for a second. It's a very weird thing to see a mushroom do.
Uh, um, okay then. And since Philip is busy vibrating, he's just gonna like carefully put away his chemical supplies just in case Philip tries to, eat them.
Well, Philip just stands there. Doesn't seem to move too much, but doesn't move away from you either.
Mm. Actually, I got a question. This is mainly for party. Did anyone set up a fire?
No? You guys
No.
just set yourselves up.
Mm. I guess the most then Wells would do is just find himself a corner to, after putting away all of his alchemical supplies, and close his eyes, not really sleeping, but more so just resting his eyes since he used most of his time for making potions.
Okay. You do so with Philip just kind of staring over your shoulder, and every once in a while you just look over and see him just standing there menacingly. But eventually, through the night, day, whatever time it is, the rest of you slowly attain consciousness. Vullis, you wanted to do something before the day, long rest was over.
No, that was it. Just making the potions.
But soon enough, you awaken yourselves to the sound of Rowan. Guys? Why is there a mushroom staring at us? Sure enough, as you lean over and look, you see as Philip. The small, stubby mushroom is currently standing there. Center of the room, right by where Vullis would have been. But just there. No imminent essence of aggravation or even aggression, just neutrality, staying there and waiting.
Grape, what happened to our guide?
Pierre's still there. He's just been silent.
All
He's
right.
he's been weirded the fuck out by this.
He doesn't have enough
No,
meta.
he doesn't have enough medicine,
liquid
and
courage.
quite frankly, he doesn't want to drink in the presence of these things. Pierre has just been silent. This is a situation he has not really encountered before. He doesn't want to ever again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Pierre is there, and he's kind of doing the same thing Rowan is, and he's somewhat hiding himself behind the cover of his sleeping roll. And he's just staring at this thing like Rowan and Ryoka are.
Okay. Clyde's gonna offer his hand out to the creature, like, hello there.
The small and stubby creature waddles over to you, little stubby legs making a very adorable yet odd sound as they walk across the padded floor.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you've ever never mind. You and your sister don't watch too many movies.
Don't watch what?
Too many movies.
Well, tell me, and I'll see. I'll tell you if I've seen it or not.
Spirited Away.
I have seen it.
The sound that Philip is making is the same sound that the turnip spirit was making when it walked.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's a little bloop, 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 bloop.
Love the turnip spirit.
But as Philip stands before you, it just stands there and it kind of sticks its little stubby arm out at you. Kind of the same gesture that you've made, but it doesn't understand it.
We wave. We wave
You-
like no man has waved before.
You wave and you watch as Philip copies you. You wave and its little stub waves back.
We do a picking up motion, but we don't pick anything up. Happy New
Following
Year.
following the motion, you just watch as Philip does the same thing. He just reaches down with the arms. No fingers, no nothing, but the stubs reach down.
Boss is just kind of yawning awake.
What is this thing and why is it here?
It's the He just takes a moment to rub his eyes. It's the mushroom person I fed before the giant ones. I don't know why it's here, but well, I guess I just followed this.
Philip would just stand there. It seems to somewhat understand and somewhat not understand what you're saying. You're not sure. There's no emotion, no face, no mouth, nothing. Just a little mushroom man. Soon enough, Clyde, it just stands there before you and it seems to be mimicking all the same motions that you've been doing.
Uh-huh. We're gonna try and stand on one foot to see if it'll also just stand there on one foot.
You stand up and pick up one foot. You see as Philip does the same and immediately topples over, and it sounds like a little squish, stuffed squished animal just falls over and squink.
Well, that
Clyde
was
would like
rude.
Clyde would try to make sure it was okay.
Hey, you pet it. Oh, no, 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 no. Hey, you go over because you see is currently Philip is rolling, trying to get himself up, but the little
Yeah,
cap on his head is too big for him to do it, so he's just rolling there.
we go over and we kind of like we pick him up underneath his arms, like the armpits essentially,
Yeah,
and we just kind of like
yeah.
pick him up and
You
then
go
we
over
set him
and
back
lift him
down.
up and set him back down, and Philip stands there. And you
Nice.
see very gently the first time you guys have actually seen movement in in Philip's head. You see as the head slowly looks down, and you see as the rim of hexagonal eyes that are completely hollow just seem to be staring down, seem to be looking at the floor or at his feet, and then slowly look back up at you.
I guess the little one here likes us.
I mean, I would hope he likes us.
Actually, Grape,
Yes,
does this does Philip look more like the giant mushrooms or like the myconids that we're currently staying with?
more like the
If
myconids that you're currently staying with.
okay, well, it certainly isn't one of the larger ones, so I guess that means we're not at least going to get attacked by their. I don't know if they have any parental instincts, but well, hopefully the large one's gonna bother us because of this little one. And then, well, Wallace kind of gets up, looks between Nerd and Clyde and everyone else. Then at yeah, do you think you know where to continue on from here? If not, we can probably figure out it from the Elder to at least point us at a direction that you are more familiar with your map before just looking at the keg.
Um,
Apologies for a moment. Somebody is calling me.
All right.
all good.
And we're back. Apologies. That was a
Welcome
call
back.
from my mother. So, let's go ahead and get back to it. So, for the sake of this and everything that's going on, uh, if I missed anything while that was going on and I was muted, please let me know. What did I miss?
Um, I think the only thing that was mentioned was what was it? If that I asked Pierre, do you know where to go
Ah,
from here?
got it.
If not, we could probably figure out more from the Myconids.
Pierre would hesitantly shift his eyes, looking from Philip over to you. I still know where we are going. Yes. Though the map is a bit foggy today.
I see. I see. It makes me wonder a little bit if the mechanics here actually make an alcohol.
Clyde would do his best to try and keep Philip entertained.
Are you not entertained?
You continue doing little motions, and Philip follows them. And believe it or not, it's almost like watching a teddy bear do everything you're doing.
Aw.
Slightly uneasy, but it's cute at the same time. Philip would remain there, even as Pierre would slowly get out of his bedroll and walk over to near him, and would kind of fandangle around to get his tankard underneath the spigot and would open it up.
I mean, if Naram's paying attention, he's just gonna help out. He's gonna
go over
lift
and lift the keg
cask,
up and give it easier to him.
Yep. Yeah, well, at some point,
Ve-
I should probably invest in a hose or something.
Pierre would look at you. It would probably help. And he would cork back up to the keg. And he'd go over and kind of lift it in honor of you. It's like, thank you. Start drinking again.
Naram just looks at Valis and Zoram just goes, "Hey, guys, I need some brain power here for a second."
As he says this,
He
you
takes
see-
the tankard away from his mouth, now empty. How much brain power do you need? I have it all.
Yeah, hold on. Naram just pulls out like, does he have any parchment? I don't think Naram has any parchment. Damn it. Let me double check. Anyone got something to write something down on? Zoram, you probably got something, right? Well, whatever. So
Pierre pulls out what looks to be a small sheaf of paper notes that have small scribbles of ancient runes on them. He pulls out a small quill. Is this what you're looking for?
oh, very much so. Do I need to just like starts looking around for his coin purse, like reimburse you or anything?
He looks over at his empty tankard.
Oh yeah, that would probably work. Just starts filling it up.
Okay.
Like absent-mindedly.
I need to tell you, he pulled these out of nowhere. Like he just kind of reached around and suddenly pulled these out of his vest pocket.
At
then
this
pulled
point,
the quill out of anywhere.
Out of character, at this point, I'm wholly convinced that Pierre's just a freaking alcohol-fueled genie. You give him bin, he gives you what you want. Hey, thank you. So, this whole carrying the keg thing has been kind of bothersome. How about we make a back-mounted system that allows the person who wants to drink the alcohol to just, like, take a flexible hose or something, fill up the tankard with it, and the cask doesn't need to constantly be lifted up and back down and all that.
Pierre would look at this and swirl his tankard around before taking a mouthful once again. But it would still be heavy, would it not?
Well, yeah, but the weight would be, like, you wouldn't have to awkwardly carry it on, like, your shoulder or anything. It would free up the arm, so you could, like, for example, use another arm in combat, or I don't know for what. Good idea. Just start like we need that written down. Damn it.
Well, you see, if it were up to me, I would just carry the casket off to the side with a baggage train. You fight one hand with a sword and keep the other hand free to make cruel gestures at your enemy.
Definitely a thing to consider. I wonder if we can like make a belt strap that can hold a whole casket.
And are you saying you're willing to carry an entire casket? And as well as that, he pulls out his own like bottle, but it's full of the bovine wine.
Mm-hmm.
He just takes a sip from it.
Very potent stuff. The bovine
Pierre
wine is
do
very
that.
potent stuff.
I am fully aware.
You know what?
So as you you're not expecting wine to hit that hard.
Man, you sound like you just fucking inhaled the vapors of a mulled wine.
Yeah, it's bovine wine is actually, believe it or not, it is wine that has actually been separated into vinegar, and
Oh,
then
okay.
it's been re-fermented back into wine.
Okay.
It's a very backwards way.
Pride would look at the wine being like, get that stuff away from Philip.
It's essentially bad wine that's been re-fermented and oh god.
Repurposed as good wine.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
been essentially they let it go bad and then they do it again with it so it becomes even more flavorful.
Yep. Thank
Clyde,
you.
if I want to give Philip this, I probably wouldn't have let anybody see it. But no, I'm not doing that. What do you take
Also,
me for?
I don't know,
He looks
Valis. I
at
think we
Pierre
all
and
had some
looks
pretty
back at
bad
Valis.
ideas recently.
Okay, but giving alcohol to a little mushroom person is not on my list.
I don't know. Have you seen Drunk Children? It's pretty funny.
I can see
We
that
do
you
not
were.
we do
Covered
not
for
endorse
No, we do not
child
endorse that.
alcoholism here.
Oh God!
Right.
Just trying to avoid that, but I guess that went out the window.
We do not endorse child alcoholism here.
Well, just kind of just shakes his head, takes one more sip
What,
before
do you-
corking the
Do you
wine
actually
away.
think I meant that? Come on.
Pierre would look at you and shrug gently. I don't know. I have been drinking forever.
Well, yeah, okay, fair enough, but that's a you thing. Not a, hey, let's take children and, like, forcefully imbibe alcohol into them.
No, I take out one drink that I bought with my own money to enjoy on this venture, and I guess we're now talking about child drinking it. He just like kind of just claps his hand.
Even in his little bit of a somewhat tipsy state, even though it always seems that whenever he has even a mouthful, it seems Pierre just has this slightly odd courage and odd incense to him. And he turns over. Where did the other elf go? And
What
I'll
do you
kind of
mean?
slowly turn over. Rowan is no longer in his sleeping bag.
You just see Clyde get an oh shit moment on his face, like ah shit, you lied.
Is there any footprint?
Yes, since you guys are in the middle of a house of moss, yes, you actually see boot prints that lead towards the front door.
Nerum takes out his manacles and goes on a manhunt.
Likewise.
Just take Philip and like put him on his shoulder.
Philip is too big for that for you, sadly.
Oh.
He'd be able to fit on Niram's shoulders, but
Well, no,
I mean,
I
he's...
meant like, can we just like put him like a piggyback ride almost?
Yeah, you could.
With,
But it's
like,
really
his
odd to
head.
do because he's really soft and squishy like a marshmallow. So when you grab onto him, you're really afraid you're just gonna squeeze too hard and you might like pop.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
then never mind about that then.
You think he can follow along fine if he's managed to follow us this silently before?
All right, and go manhunt, go Team Rocket. I don't know, charge.
All the people
Go Team Rocket.
say Team Rocket, the one group that takes the most L's.
I mean, to be fair, they're pretty good at tracking people.
Oh, to be
Yeah.
fair, Clyde did say everybody go. He indiscriminately just said everybody. And then settled on Team Rocket.
Clyde, you need to just get away from that artificial device. You're starting to see more things.
I know. I can see shapes and colors and like the witch I've ever seen before.
As you guys stalk your way through the town on your manhunt, you actually see that there is light down here. It's not pitch black. These things know what fire is and they use it. They don't know what candles are, so it's all just torches. But you do see that there are torches and stuff everywhere.
Question: are the torches made from wood, or are they made from like mushroom parts?
No, they're not. From what you can tell, it is made from a fungus. However, it is a wood-like fungus. It's a very tough, very resistant. It's almost wood-like.
We should probably teach them about candles.
And where are they gonna get wax from?
Who knows? Maybe they'll. I don't know.
I'm sure they have soy. Right?
What the fuck
Maybe.
is soy? You guys just looked at.
Now I'm just kind of thinking like the scenario that is painted in Naram's head is just a mushroom beehive.
little bees with fat capped heads just
Yep.
bonking into each other.
You just see him silently chuckling to himself. Oh, that'd be so stupid.
Yeah. But believe it or not, yes, Clyde, to answer your question, you do smell cooking, actually.
Ooh.
But what's odd is that it's a familiar scent. You
Familiar.
smell bread.
Uh-oh.
No.
Oh no.
Clyde would immediately start to just follow his nose.
Go ahead and make me a survival check as you are tracking him down.
Alright, survival. Trying to see if I have proficiency in it. I do not. Okay. Nat 20.
You know exactly where this son of a bitch is. You follow, to the best of your abilities, the scent of that bread. And believe it or not, in front of a relatively small little hovel of stone, the scent of bread is permeating the air. But the closer you've been getting to it, the more earthly it smells. Almost like somebody's making bread out of truffles. It's a very odd scent.
Okay, I got scared for a second because I thought Rowan just snapped and decided to make bread out of the mushroom people.
He's not that cynical. Yet.
Again, I said I thought he snapped.
As he would stand there, you actually find Rowan is currently standing there, and he has an elongated loaf of bread in his hands, and he's just staring at it. And his eyes just follow it. The loaf has a very odd color. It's a very light yellowish, almost brown. It's off color to that of a usual piece of bread, but it's familiar to you.
Rowan, how did you make this? What did you use?
Rowan would stand there and look up at you. I didn't. They made it for me. I smelled it and I came and they just gave it to me.
They gave you bread.
Peanuts.
Is
They
that
gave you bread.
is it normal bread? Is it
It seems to be normal bread. I don't know.
All right, well, take a bite. Hopefully, it's not poisoned.
And Rowan snaps a piece off of it and snacks on it. He
Well.
looks at you and you see his face kind of curls in like he's eating something really bitter. It works for now.
Maybe they were trying to copy what I gave to the elder. I don't know if they share their experiences, but
Well, you think the reason it might be bitter is because they don't have sugar?
Rowan would continue just kind of chewing through the bits and pieces of bread. And whatever it is, it's not being too good for him.
Rowan,
Yeah.
I think you need to stop. This substitute isn't good for you.
And you see him kind of close. He reaches up and closes his nose and swallows. Pulls out a wineskin and drinks from it. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
I think that dog in the background states otherwise.
But as he goes through and takes a hearty mouthful of wine, drinks through it and swallows it through, and once again just looks at it and snaps another piece off and eats. And as he breaks it off, he starts chewing on it again. He looks relatively set on his path here.
Mm-hmm.
As he looks up at you, I mean, it looks like he's not exactly in the middle of a withdrawal, but he's having or making the best of what he can. And it's working.
In quotation marks, I assume.
Well, quotation marks, yeah, but it still seems to be working at least somewhat well.
Mm-hmm.
So, as that is happening, Philip is actually right behind you guys, and you hear that of his little padded, stubby legs coming up behind you.
We turn to wave.
He follows. Philip waves.
We dip our head.
Philip dips his head and falls over and squabbles once again as he cannot get his arms underneath him to try and stand up again.
We go over to help him up.
Nerv turns around when he hears Philip fall over, like, what did you do now, Clyde?
Yeah, it sounds like a little squish. He's like, "Peek," as he falls over.
Yeah,
As
we help him back up.
you help him back up, and it's really odd trying to pick up a heavy marshmallow. Just, and you set him back straight.
We good?
Philip actually just seems to be mimicking your motions. You say, "We good?" and you just see his head kind of dips forward,
Like
kind of
follows
mimicking your head
normal.
motion.
Yeah. Okay. Clyde would make a sad face and then do a no motion, and then he would make a happy face and do a yes motion. And then without moving his head, he'd ask if he was okay.
Philip actually follows both motions as you do them. He shakes his head as you shake your head, then he nods as you nod. And then when you make no motion, he makes no motion.
Mm-hmm. That's a bit difficult.
Now Rowan goes over with the piece of bread that he has in his hand. And he looks at it and looks at Philip. He looks at it, looks at Philip, looks at it, and looks at Philip. And you could see with a quivering hand, watch as Rowan extends a piece of bread to Philip.
Mm-hmm. Very nice of you to share, Rowan.
I'm not doing this for you.
I know. What made you think? I thought you were doing it for me. I'd be flattered if you did
Don't-
it for me, but I'm not
If
doing
you
it.
say more, I will stop giving this to him.
Okay.
Narum glares at Rowan. Like, wordlessly just glares at him.
Extends his hand. And you see as Philip puts a hand out just like he does, and the little stub takes on this small piece of bread. Does the same thing. The bread absorbs into Philip's hand, and you watch him vibrate. As
I
Philip
don't
sits
think
there
that's
and
a good thing.
Philip sits there and vibrates. That is the same thing that happened when you fed him. Just he vibrates.
Clyde's never fed him before, though.
Oh, sorry. That's right. You weren't awake when Volus fed him. Apologies.
Yeah.
Pierre would stand there as Rowan is currently feeding Philip. Are we staying here for another rest, or are we going out once again?
As much as I would want to study the mushrooms here, see if it's possible to collect some for potions, we should not overstay our welcome.
Zoram would nod with that. We could study them, yes, but doing so would require some time that we do not have. So I think we should find ourselves out and step off. So I guess I'm in agreement with you, Volus.
Very well, very well. I am in agreement.
Pierre would notion back to the way you guys came from. Very well. Let us get our things and we shall head out. Perhaps it is time for us to get back onto the road and follow the map. And as you guys are heading on your way back, go ahead and call it there. I know we are cutting it a little bit early today. I do apologize. But extenuating circumstances due to it being New Year's Eve, I apologize.
I was about to say, it's New Year's Eve. You don't really have to find an excuse.
But other than that, those of you on Twitch, I say hello and welcome. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I know it was a bit slow at portions, but hey, stuff happens when you have a small party. But I do hope you enjoyed, and if you want to know how they got here, you can actually go ahead and check out the YouTube that we have set up, thanks to Behemoth. And with that, you can check out how the party got here and how everything else happened. If you perhaps want to find out when the stream is going live, or if anything changes, you can check out the Discord there that will take you to Behemoth's Discord. If you enjoyed enough to actually want to come back again for our next session, hopefully next Saturday at our usual time of 2:30 p.m. East, about 8:30 p.m. European Central Standard. But aside from that, before I start begging, I'll go ahead and hand it off to Behemoth so he can round it off for those of you and let you know about what's going and what's to come.
Yep, thank you. So, as Grape said, today is New Year's Eve, and for some of us it is coming sooner than for others, so I'm actually quite glad that we're ending it here. That would have been a bit problematic for me as well, even though it's nothing urgent. Anyways, I guess I would like to preemptively wish anyone here a New Year, like a Happy New Year, because this is the last stream we'll be doing for 2022. And as Grape said, we will hopefully continue this next Saturday at 8:30 p.m. European, like Central European Standard Time. I don't really have anything else planned in the immediate future, and well, besides D&D, of course. So I hope you all have a nice, lovely rest of your day, and a safe start into the next year. Take care.